So what was your first contact with craft, and how did you think that you were going to start this platform, this massive platform that you built up now and that you're with it today? So how did this come about? Tell us a little bit about it.
I had no background in crafts. I was into films, and I just used to love so much going to craft exhibitions, and used to love what kind of products were there. And I wanted to move back from Delhi to Gwalior. That's how the thing started. That what can I do in Gwalior, being in Gwalior, and which doesn't involves me. Uh, Staying here. So this was craft was something that which was not being done in online space at that time. There was no one who was doing this in an online exhibitions. That's how this whole idea came up, that we could do this from Gwalior also, and we can take bring all these artisans together, get their products, and we can build up a online platform. This is 2010 we are talking, when there was no infrastructure available in terms of logistic, how to build up the website setup. So we all build this from ground up. So that's how it started.
So when you started, how did you select the crafts that you were going to sell online? I mean, did you go around personally and actually select the craft, or did craft people come to you and then you chose? How did you build up this
Initially, this whole supply chain wire used to move a lot around India, meeting people, going to villages, just going to craft clusters, meeting them at various exhibitions happening across India. And the model which what we were doing is we were procuring from them. So that was a very big relief for an artisan, because they don't want to get invested into the stock when it comes to an online space. So we were buying outright from an artisan. So that's how this whole ecosystem we have built over the period of time. Still we are in the same inventory model only. We buy outright from artisan. So but the major winner, uh, we have always believed in what traditional artisan designs. So we have never went beyond into the designer setup. We have always believed what traditionally artisans build. We will get products out of their design language, what they have been doing over the period of time.
So, if I understand rightly, what you believe is in the strength of the design of the traditional products.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that you wanted to help the artisans by marketing and supporting them through.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you also help them by actually procuring everything that you put on it.
Yes. So whatever products we sell on iTokri, we have 100% inventory available with us, and strictly quality check, and all of that is done from a single point warehouse. At any point of time, we have around 60,000 SKUs live on the website. So we started with 500. Now we have grown over the period of time.
Sure. And okay, now it's about 14 years since you started.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that this model needs a little bit of, infuse new things, a little bit of innovations, maybe in terms of, combining craft, or maybe in terms, for instance, I notice now you have ready-mades quite a lot. So, is this a conscious decision that you took?
Absolutely. So we have currently now, when we talk about how things are evolving in coming time, there is always a need of innovation in terms of product, in terms of design. So there I think the whole design intervention comes. But we have to, I've always been very particular about that, how the whole design space get collaborated with the traditional design sensibility of the craft community, the production itself. So that we have been very conscious with. So we don't go much into the just two designer stuff. We get very rooted in terms of what artisans are doing.
And the other thing perhaps I'd like to ask is, about now there's a lot of sort of unauthentic, especially in textiles, things going on. Are you aware of it? I mean, or is it something you look at? I mean, or is it something that you accept? I mean, and put a label to, for instance.
See, I don't think there's I mean, see, market has a demand of all kind of products, including authentic, non-authentic. All price brackets are there. People need all kinds of stuff.
When they
So
look at Itokri, perhaps they think it's for handicrafts and
yes,
handcrafted textiles.
absolutely. So no, we majorly we are into the same setup, but we are more into, because it processes have also kind of not remained pure. All big artisans are also now mixing different kind of their, see, purity is very hard to figure out, but authentic, inexpensive, but an authentic product made by hand and some hand process involved into the production, that's what we kind of want to try to achieve. And second is the transparency of information, that what this product is. See, I don't think authenticity is a big problem, transparency is a bigger problem in today's terms, that people don't want to say what the product is and sell it in with something else altogether. We have been working with Meeta for a long time. She's also here. So, and we, in terms of design, I mean, the kind of products what she does.
So the speaker on my left, immediate left, is Meeta Mastani. She works at the intersection of sustainable development, culture, craft, arts, and retail. In 1993, Meeta co-founded Bindas Unlimited, a social enterprise where, working with rural artisans in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and UP, she creates, to this day, contemporary textiles in natural colors. Her endeavor is to work with artisans in a sustained, ethical, and collaborative manner. Meeta conducts workshops on natural dyeing and hand printing of fibers. She's also herself a maker and collaborates with artists from different parts of the world. Her artwork has been shown at many museums abroad, including the V&A in London. So Meeta, actually, the most interesting thing, I mean, of course, you can say what, if you feel anything about what Nitin has been saying, but I feel the most interesting thing and what we would like you to share with us is how do you, I mean, you started a long time ago. I mean, in fact, I think in this panel, you may be the one who's worked oldest in this sector. So I would like you to throw some light on how it is that you work with artisans and the craft sector in an ethical and collaborative manner. This is very important for anybody working with design in this. I feel this is very important. So if you could just share a few anecdotes with us, or how was it when you started? What were the difficulties? How have you continued? If you could just do that, please.
Thank you so much, Purnima ji. I agree. To start with, I would like to agree with what Purnima just said about, I'm also a little uncomfortable with the use of the word upliftment, because yes, I do provide maybe a fresh perspective on design to the craftspeople that I work with, but equally I learn from them. It's very much a two-way street. It is not just me providing something to them. So, I mean, whether it's a design student, whether it's a design house, whether it's a company working with crafts, there's always give and take. And we both learn from each other and we grow from that. I haven't gone to design school. My schools are actually the people I have worked with, and that's how I have learned, and my work has grown, and I have been enriched in so many ways, both culturally, technically, even in terms of design. There is a design language in traditional craft which exists, and some of it is directed by the technique, by the limitations of the technique, and some of it is directed by the need of the design of the hour when they were created. Secondly, I also think that tradition is never static and it keeps moving, and we are part of tradition. And like now, when you said 93, since 30 years I've been doing this. So, I mean, in a while it'll be, yes, this was tradition. It's just a matter of which time the time frame where you're looking back from. So this static tradition, I don't understand. Ke pehle aise hota tha. Yes, of course it was like that, but before that it was something else, and before that it was something else altogether. About the ethical and the collaborative way that you're speaking, I have worked with one community in Rajasthan ever since I began this. My brand is called Bindas Unlimited. And ever since I began this, I have been working with the same community. And I am now working with the third generation in the same place. And on my website, in wherever people can access my information on our socials, it's very clear who I'm working with. Most people who work with artisans, they are not open about it because they, well, I suppose everybody feels they put in so much time to make a relationship, to you train each other in a relationship, both of you train each other. So, I've done so much mehnat, and now if somebody else comes and starts working with an already trained person by maybe paying them more or offering some other incentive. So, I understand why people are cautious and do not give out that information. But I'm very clear on any product, any product that I make, any art that I do, the name of the actual producer and maker is always there. Just as I would like to be credited and acknowledged, I'm sure everybody likes that. So it's not, it's not something unusual. It's just how I would be like to be treated is how I treat the people I work with.
Meeta, when you're talking of the individual's acknowledgement of the individual, I just want that if we look at crafts in the olden times, to me, there was no individual in it. It is a group effort. It is it's a dharohar, which it's like a river. People keep contributing it and it grows, and it's everybody's and it's nobody's. Yeah. That was that was how crafts was. But I'm willing to, look at it because times have changed greatly. And this, so I just want to ask you, since the time you started working with the artisans there, they had, for instance, Kalavati and Raghunathji, what was their attitude and what is the attitude of the generation that continues after them and the people who are working now?
Attitude regarding
designs or individuality or how they work as part of their craft work. What is their outlook about it? What do they feel about it? Generally, if there's some light you can tell us.
So I work with Studio Chaubundi, which is a fourth generation printing family in Rajasthan, in Kaladira village. And Unimaji knows them very well. And the two that I started working with, the parents in the house, it's like gharanas, right? In music, you have different gharanas. In craft, also there are different houses, and they are specialists in some particular skill or a particular style. Often that's how it works. And yes, it's not an individual person, but now more and more, maybe individual ateliers or homes, families. It's a family run work. It is so much work that it cannot be done by an individual. So it's always done by a family. It's like farming. You can't do it alone. There's so many social and cultural things which create these systems. There's a reason why.
Meeta, you're very right. I think that is actually it, that no craft is a thing by itself. It's a contribution. Every piece has got a lot of the entire family. In weaving, in anything you see, a lot of the entire, background of people are there who support, who work, who may not be acknowledged. The final weaver is acknowledged. But then again, there are people who make it possible for him to weave those things. So yes, you're absolutely right. It's like a gharana. It's a collaborative effort. And of course, you can say it's an atelier. I mean, you can say like Ajrak, people have their own stamps. You have, so that's the way the world is going. It's all right. We should also look at that. I don't think there's anything. But as far as design is concerned, how do you collaborate with them in terms of communicating what it is that you want from them in terms of your own design?
So interestingly, I mean, I'm just going back a little. This village where I worked, there were 3 prints which the village used to print. There was kind of you're talking about design, so I'm going there. There were 3 prints that was the domain of this particular village, and most villages printed their own prints and not other prints. And there was nobody stopping them from doing it, but there was an informal kind of copyright, and they only printed these. Then came export and the whole look changed. Earlier, the clothes were used as markers for communities, for jatis, for the buyers were fixed and the makers were fixed. And of course, that was about 50 years back. That has changed, and now everybody print. I work in the area of printing, but it's pretty similar in other weaving and other things as well. So, I mean, now everybody's printing everything, and you can buy an ajrak from, I mean, Rajasthan officially does ajrak at the border, but maybe even from somewhere totally different. Madhya Pradesh will be printing, a family in Madhya Pradesh could be printing ajrak, or somebody else could be printing something that was traditionally done elsewhere. So that earlier thing of these are our prints, we will not print anything else, that has totally gone. And I worked with a group of people, and we printed a lot of contemporary prints which were very consciously represented what we saw around us. Because when I started printing in the 90s, people were mostly buying, Hello Kitty rejects and Mickey Mouse export surplus. That's what was available in the market. So to show what is visible around us is what legitimizes what is around us. That's what representation is about, right? So it was a very conscious choice of images, and they are images that resonated. How did they react to it? The people I work with, the Chaubundi family, how did they react to these designs? It was very difficult to find somebody who was innovative, who had the skills, and who was willing to experiment. Because if you have very little work, then you want to do what you know. You're not going to easily experiment. If you're at a very basic level, skill wise or money wise, if you are really well known, then you'll do what you're really well known for. Why would you make the effort? Because it's so much work to start anything new, to learn how to do anything new. But this family was well placed. They were kind of in the middle. They had their traditional skills. They had an understanding of the market of earlier. They could not find a market for the stuff that they were making. So they realized that there is a need for change. So they were open in that way. And they are so playful and so happy. And my prints are also very playful and fun. So they related to it very well. They wear them themselves. When I give an order, I'll get a call, for 2 shirts, we've taken away fabric for 2 shirts, or somebody's whacked this fabric, somebody's taken that fabric. So they actually enjoy it, and they own it, and they wear it. So they do relate to it.
Meeta, one quick question. You work with natural dyes. Now, on one hand, it's really an important direction. I mean, because the whole world is looking at sustainability. But how easy or difficult is it for you, for your unit, or for the people at Chaubundi? How do they cope with it? I mean, is it truly is it really difficult to do natural dyes now? Do they continue to do it? And do you feel that some sort of certification or something is necessary so that we can say that it's natural dyes with confidence, you know?
So it's very difficult to do it because it is, without exaggeration, maybe 10 times more work than doing chemical dyes. And we are certainly not, we do not charge 10 times the amount for this printing. It's a hot country. It's done best at this time of the year. We cannot work in the rain. So you have limited time. Now with climate change, there's rain every month. Every time it rains, we lose 3 days of work because the ground gets wet. So it's a huge challenge. You need a lot of water for natural dye because you got to wash it that many times over. It takes, I'm not exaggerating, it takes about 20 days more to make each meter of fabric than if we were to do it with chemical print. So it's just another level altogether. I think we are, maybe, I don't know, but I think we may be one of the largest producers of natural prints in the country over the years. And I don't think when I stop or this generation in the family stops, I don't think they will do it for anybody else because they don't do this kind of work for anybody else because it is just so much effort.
But not even if they're financially compensated for it?
They are, but I have not seen any move towards that kind of compensation. Because and we have for sustainability, I mean, we have put in water recharge systems in the village for the common land and for the land where we work as well. But again, it's work to keep them going. So the community land, they are not as up to speed on cleaning it up, making it happen. So the water level, we all know that the next wars are going to be about water, right? We are all seeing the effect of it. And we hear Bangalore, we hear there's no water here, there's no water there. In all our houses, we've seen over the years how it's reduced. So it is a challenge. The most sustainable thing is to buy less, is to reuse, is to share, is to circulate, is to gift used stuff. We all know this, right? But when you decide to buy, I always feel when we decide to buy, if I'm spending money, where am I giving my money? Who am I giving it to? Who do I support? Do I support a fast fashion chain and buy something, use it 3 times and throw it away? Or do I buy something that somebody is making, working in their own village, not increasing population in a city, who's doing it in a more, it's a relatively more sustainable. Everything is relative, I think.
Well, it's commentary of our times that one of the most valuable knowledge that we have, which is of natural dyeing, you are saying that after you, maybe it won't be there. But so we should look at all these carefully. These are the aspects. These also fall into the design area because these are the things we should look at, and these are things which designers can look at. So thank you, Meeta. And may I come to Sumit ji? Sumit Sani is the founder of Apala, the jewelry brand recognized for its India-centric masterpieces infused with a contemporary flair. Trained at the prestigious Gemological Institute of America and JDTI, Sumit has been a pioneer in the jewelry industry, blending traditional craftsmanship with modern aesthetics. His innovative designs have adorned many celebrities. Sumit has showcased his work at India International Jewelry Week and actively participated in the Gems and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. A master designer, Sumit continues to inspire and shape the future of jewelry design globally. Welcome to the panel, Sumit ji.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your views on traditional jewelry and how it is that you design innovative pieces based on those skills? Yes. So just tell us a little bit about your how you started, how you go about it.
In fact, traditional jewelry, if we go back, I think more than traditional jewelry, let me go back to the time of tribals. How did ornamentation start? ornamentation started from, these tribals would go from one region to the other, and they would wear bone, they would wear shell, and eventually all that ornamentation developed, and there were communities which began, and traditional forms started, traditionality, whatever motifs were formed, and each state developed a particular craft. There was like Rava craft, if I go further. You have Chitrai, where people work with nail and hammer and craft out designs. We have Meenakari. We have Kundan craft. We have filigree from Katak. So, over the years, the processes were passed on from one generation to the other. Also, in terms of art and architecture, art around, would influence these motifs, from ambis to floral motifs. And over the years, there was refinement of techniques, which led to formation of traditional jewelry. So each region represented a particular craft. And for a designer, it becomes absolutely important that, we work in modernization of these designs. Utilize them. Like, interestingly, for Apala, what we do, we have artisans from across the country. We have artisans down south. We have in Gujarat. We have in Jaipur. We have them, in fact, interestingly, people would reach out to us from, a place from IGNCA. So amalgamating everybody together, reviving the traditional craft is what interests us. So coming back, in terms of traditional jewelry, I think it has a lot of relevance to us. And protecting them is a larger concern, because, what we try to do is to keep, while we design, we try to keep the traditional aspect of it as the key, make the center of it. But overall, the approach is very contemporary or modern, because with the current times, you have to make it wearable, which at times the artisans don't know how, they don't have the know-how, or, as a larger scale, they don't have, the knowledge how it has to be put through. So for us, it is the traditional connections, which also makes us unique, also with the, things like coming in AI, CAD CAM, things like those coming in. Here you create and people copy. Right? So, and surprisingly, I'm talking audio jewelry context for the moment. I had a friend, she does Banarsi saris. So she went to an artisan, in Banaras, and she bought her weaves. And next door, the next shop had, her sari was, say, 40,000 rupees. Next door, it was over 5,000 rupees. And she's been promoting traditional craft to the core. But, in terms of these influences, I think sometimes the designer also gets jittery. How are we going to really hold on to the traditions? But I think the solution to is, I think these are things for good. AI and all is giving us, kind of a space to reinvent ourselves and take it as a challenge and recreate. They are eventually giving us systems to, take on the culture, take it global. And I think the government has now realized and is doing a wonderful job, to really promote the old crafts and, take it to the next level. It becomes our kind of a responsibility to make sure that, the craftsperson, they are given the right kind of course, wages, but there is soul to it. Jewelry, art is soul. I think it has a heartbeat. I would put it like that way. So, and I think as any artist or a creator, of course, through a community, you get that kind of a skill set and you form and there's a group. There is a high degree of passion involved, and connecting that carefully for the artisan becomes very, very important.
You spoke very positively, and that's lovely for a person of your generation.
Thank you.
And I just quickly, is everything that you do handmade, or are there other processes involved?
98% of our jewelry is manufactured, is all handmade.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you concentrate on a particular craft like Meenakari, or it's just a mixture of everything in one piece, for instance? Would you be combining different techniques, or would you? How does your design work in that case?
I think our style is very eclectic. So being eclectic, we combine different elements together, but it has a strong balance. So I think our hold in terms of design, having multi-states, multiple art forms, but in a very sophisticated, balance in terms of the formation, gives us a upper hand basically.
So in this context, I would say that design is really important. And as you say, the design has to be with a soul and a passion.
Of course.
And looking back at what we have, this huge heritage that we have.
Yes.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Sumitji? And thank you for coming. I believe you were unwell and
yes.
Had a
Thank you. No, I'm fine. So I overall I feel we have a responsibility to do and, give back to the society. I think after you reach a particular point, where you are also influenced by all these CAD CAM technologies. I think sustaining it and promoting it is a larger thing for us. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We come to Amala ji. Amala Srivastava works as a head design with EPCH, the Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts. She has over 14 years of experience in creating and delivering design solutions that meet international standards, blending traditional and innovative designs based on international trends. She has played a significant role in helping exporters and micro entrepreneurs in the crafts sector. She has nurtured more than 85 craft design clusters at the grassroots level. At EPCH, she leads a design team responsible for showcasing Indian design and products in over 45 exhibitions globally. Amla also serves as a guest faculty and jury member at JIMS and NIFT. Thank you for being here, Amla ji. Okay, so now this is a huge portfolio. There's so much you can tell us about and talk to us about. But suppose, for instance, there is a fair that you have to go. So how is it that you plan? How do you do the designing? How do you choose the crafts? Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Definitely. First of all, thank you everyone to be seated for us. And thank you for inviting us and holding such a seminar. Ma'am, your question is really, really taking me to the back of my work when I started my career. When we establish or we decide to visit an exhibition, it's when we do not do or take this decision spontaneously. It is a decision that has to be taken 6 or 8 months in advance. We cannot plan to visit an international exhibition as of exhibition is happening next month and we think of doing so. That's not how an international exhibition should be considered or taken up as a project. When I say that 8 to 6 months is a duration where we do a lot of study and establishment of our visit. So what happens is that once we are going international exhibition, we have to understand which kind of audience is coming to us. We have to understand what kind of buyers' expectations or consumers are looking at, what is the need of the consumer, which products are going to be sellable, which are the products that might be a failure. We were having a small discussion while we were having a lunch, and this was a similar topic that was raised while I was having food with Tulika ma'am and the other members who were there in the morning session. And they said that we take artisans from here for live demonstration and government sponsors them. And what happens is that these karigars pick up the products which are randomly available, which they make. Okay? They have their heart and soul, and we've been talking about a lot of emotional connect and empathy and everything with those products because they're made by hand and everything. But an international buyer, whoever comes to your stand, will feel the soul only when he connects with the product. Your Ganpati, your Shiva is your Ganpati, your Shiva. For them, it is just an elephant, it's just an image of a man with so many, instruments in their hand. They would not even have any significance to it. So, translating your craft into the right product is also that we have to cater when we decide to go to an exhibition. So, deciding and visiting an exhibition does not only plan your hotel stay or booking a space or, taking pride in going to an international show, but it starts from selection of the right product, understanding the consumer, understanding the season depending on the product, their country and their likability, rejections, acceptance, and it's then you go to the show.
I think you've described this very rightly, that you definitely have to look at markets, what they want, and what is it that you're producing, and then how do you fit the two together. So, do you design specific designs for each fair, or do you take something that is already available, tailor it? Is it a mix? I mean, I'm sorry, it may be a difficult question for you to answer.
No. So basically, my organization, Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts, we have 11,000 members, pan-India. We hold exhibitions where we have more than 3,000 exhibitors participating under one roof, and it's a closed door even for only international buyers coming in. Post-pandemic, we realized that the capacity of international buyers have shrunk down, and surprisingly, the retail market is doing much better. So yes, we have opened doors for larger, buyers, the domestic buyers, volume buyers. So we have Pepper Fry, we have Shoppers Stop and things like that. But having said that, the question you have, I would really, say that buying buyers and bringing them together has been a biggest challenge. And we as a company or as an association try and guide exporter members, artisans, as to what the Western world is looking at, whether it is finishes, whether it is the product development or whatever. For example, if I say recently after pandemic, price of living, cost of living is an alarm to the Western world. So they do not have enough funds to pay for their heating rooms. वहाँ पर सब कुछ गर्म होता है. So they don't have enough funds to do that. So imagine how will be they buying, the handcrafted products. So now if you're selling the same product, will not sell. So you have to change. So there are thermal curtains coming up. There are cushion covers that are coming up for the doors and the windows. हमारे यहाँ संदों से हवा आती है, उनके यहाँ पे भी आती है. So, they're looking at blankets they're taking measures how to keep themselves warm without keeping heaters on, because it's not about climate change. It's also about, self grooming and essentials. People are taking care of themselves after COVID. So these products or these emotions change the product line. So we are not only selling the products in terms of cushion covers and bed linen, but also now going to thermal curtains, which was not before pandemic. So hence, the product development. So we guide them, and then the product, they produce the products according to the market.
Right. So I just want to know a little more about these design clusters that you're developing. What are they? I mean, where are they based? How do you deal with them?
So basically, we have clusters like Moradabad, we have Saharanpur, we have Jodhpur, we have Jaipur. These are the clusters where massive work happens. These are the exporters who are coming in the exhibition and are putting up their contemporized handicraft product, which are also made by machine, but also having the hand skills to it. As a designer who specializes in crafts, I make sure that, I guide them कि sir इसमें ऐसा कुछ कर देना जो China ना बना सके. How will you compete and how will you sell your handicraft if you're not insisting them to leave a mark of craft in the product, which China cannot do, And having said that, these exporters and these clusters are grown in totality. It is not one-to-one mentorship. It's a mentorship of the entire cluster, a community, because we're working for the upliftment of and now I will stop using this word upliftment because I have been corrected here, and I'm really happy that I learned this today from here. But yes, it's about the growth of the entire set of people in totality, because we're not looking at ek lohar, but we're looking at the entire cluster, and hence the education has to impart them as well.
Do you feel that there is an increase in your membership? Do you feel that there is increased activity in the in craft? Crafts. Do you feel that it's going more, or do you feel that there's a marked decline in the production and manufacture of craft? And
No, there is no decline as such, but I would say the market has shifted a bit. The younger generation is coming on Instagram. They have their retail brands. They're selling the Indian crafts with the tweakness. There is difference in handicrafts, what was going. So the elderly are still sticking to the roots of bulk mein saman bechna. But at the same time, when you have the younger generation, they are looking at ball that keeps rolling in the factories and in the clusters. So I would not say they decline, but in fact, I will be happy to put this across in front of the forum that the younger generation coming from various kinds of background, and I think I have the most diversified background of the panelists here also, like a filmmaker coming up in the handicrafts. Similar mindset people are coming up, and we have CSR projects where we are training people to learn how to become an exporter. So that helps the artisanal the generation which is not wanting to practice handicrafts or become an artisan, become an exporter and start selling the crafts. So that's one sector getting very strong there.
I was just wondering, are they also, does the government for exports, because see, where I started from, that's a long time ago, exports was a thing. It was the mantra. Everything had to be exported. You had to make everything for export because there was very little retail. Now, what I'm asking you is there a lot of subsidies still from the government for exports of handicrafts, let's say? Does the government provide any subsidy for exporting handicrafts?
There's always a demand of, but I think the subsidies remains the same. In fact, they had some GST conversations happening. But honestly, since I come from the design background, and I really don't care about the finances and also not about the subsidies. Whenever they tell me कि हमें इसके लिए कुछ चाहिए, हम बोलते हैं भैया हम ज्ञान दे रहे हैं आपको, आप बोलो subsidy की बात मत करो. There are GSTs, reservations, there is import and export duties and everything.
I think so.
But I will not be correctly answering you that, so I should not be putting it there.
All right. Thank you very much. You're in a very lucky position to be designing and not caring about the finances. So we will, the time is short, so we will go on to Tanushri. Tanushri is again a very famous filmmaker. She has worked under Prahlad Kakkar for many years, a long career. And it was only in 2016 that Tanushri Basu started her sustainable clothing label, Shoshe. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, one or two things. As a sustainable brand, she's particular to use only hand-woven fabric. And Shoshe is now a very upmarket and very well-known brand and is stocked in more than 12 well-known stores across the country, stores like Ogan, Good Earth, Amethyst, and many more. So Tanushri, how did you switch careers after so long? That is our first question, of course.
First of all, thank you everyone, and thank you, ma'am, for having me on this platform. I feel very fortunate because I am not a trained designer or artist. I studied filmmaking and eventually made film advertising commercials for about 20 years of my life, and then I think I burnt out. So, and I wanted something that relaxes me and something that I love. And that's how my journey with fabric started. And like people find cooking therapeutic, I like working with fabrics. And my mother used to be one of those, original Mandi house ladies who used to be, touring the emporiums of Hanuman. Everyone knows about. So I grew up in Delhi, going to Gurjari and to those small exhibitions that Dastakar used to hold there. And that's how the love for fabric started. And I decided to uh, do like a 360-degree switch. And I call myself the accidental designer. So, but the journey so far, I've been very fortunate. And I think everyone, from Mika to Sumit, everyone, and Amala, they've all spoken about collaborations. And I have no shame in admitting that I have learned everything from my weavers and from my dyers. I have no formal training in design, but I think if you love something, you eventually want to learn more and more about it.
Yeah, I think we all agree that design is not only taught in schools and colleges, but it is also something which is instinctive, and you should never feel not proud that you've learned your everything that you know about craft from weavers. I mean, I think that's a great thing because you can learn a lot, not only of the skills, but as people who know and know a great deal and who've suffered a great deal and who've gone through all sorts of vicissitudes in life. So they have, everybody has a story, and I think we should feel very happy if we can. I mean, we should be very happy to pick up things from them. So that's a great thing. What kind of textiles do you deal with, and from which area? And is it any particular area, or is it all over India?
See, I started working with only textiles from West Bengal initially. We were doing a lot of Jamdani work, and like, and I was like a little inquisitive child. So right from the process of how are you doing drumming and how is this shuto being stretched, and I have gone and spent weeks in Puliyar, which I was fortunate because we lived in Kolkata, off and on. So I would just go up in a taxi and spend time, and uh, that was really really helpful because post that I'm working with weavers from Banaras and also from Chanderi. But my ground work and all the knowledge came from the weavers of Pulia and the Nadia district. So, post that, I want to say one thing here. Uh, Other than, of course, there's no upliftment or anything. But I think what we, all of us as designers, bring to the table is a sensibility, which I'm not saying that their sensibilities are bad or good, but we bring, I think, a sensibility that we feel will work with a certain generation, will sell. Because I do believe I go to exhibitions and I see beautiful works, but I'm thinking, who is going to actually buy this work? It's very important to create commercially viable work. If you don't do that, you are going to kill the weaver eventually. So you have to innovate and you have to tell them, listen, like we are working with a palette which is only a blue, or we are working with a palette which is only, a pale blush. They might not have worked with this. But then they also figure that out and they are telling you, hey, do it like this and do it like that. So I do believe that. And the second thing I want to say, I have great faith in Indian retail, and I've been very, very, scared to step out in export because I hear sometimes like it's a very tough market, and the Indian market is evolving every day. Suddenly we are eating sushi, we are eating, we recognizing, things of how to sustainable energy. So obviously we're changing as people. So we, even when you're wearing a textile, hand woven textile, your appreciation is multifold compared to what it used to be in the previous, times. It's no longer limited to, and I don't mean to, talk down, but it's no longer meant to be for that arty-party crowd. Today, everyone wants to wear a beautiful Banarsi sari for their, even if you're living in Amsterdam, you want to wear it for your wedding, you know. So that's what is our job, I think.
Thank you, Tanushree. And so now we are running out of time. I will just shortly, I would like to say that design input is really necessary because craft cannot remain static. We are indeed lucky. The design fraternity, the designers are lucky that they have this pool of skills to work with. We may no longer have them many years hence. So, but it is very important, since they are there, that we respect them and we respect their knowledge and then take them forward. Because as Tanushree said, there are new markets, India is changing, the retail market is booming, so we must take advantage of that. We must try to convey the strengths of our craft heritage and take it forward. Okay, I won't talk anymore, but yes, so if there are any questions from the audience, please identify yourself and address it to whoever you want.
Tanushree, you were telling us that for international market, you are a little scared. In fact, I have a channel partner in the US who said that you must meet Tanushree and can you check for Sorche? I said, yes, of course, you know. So there's an immediate opportunity for you there in the US. And my channel partner sells 5,000 saris in 3 months. So I think it's all about stepping out of your comfort zone and taking the challenge. And, you know, we are so diverse. You know, I think the whole international map is actually for India. I think so diverse from north to south, east to west. I think there is so much to actually offer. Thank you.
So my question to Sumit, Meeta, Amla and Tanushree, actually all of you can answer this question actually. So how do you maintain the essence of the traditional design when you're contemporizing something, the craft you're working with? Because there is a very thin line between disrespecting the craft and sometimes maybe the artisans are associating certain customs with the crafts, and the whole process can be associated with their whole lifestyle. So how do you maintain that balance, that thin line? So that is my question to all of you.
I think this is actually more based on a brand call, right? You know, a particular how it is also a demand-based requirement. How do you want to project your brand and how your buyers are going to seek it? You know, as a designer, you have a responsibility to protect the heritage, the design, the craft, basically, but it has to be commercially viable, right? For us, you know, because as a designer, you are trained to basically, as a knowledge of a pool across of the crafts of India, right? In the current scenario, how you want to push it to that line so that, you know, it's talked about, right? How it is promoted. So that thin line of, I think for me, it's always a win-win situation to, you know, promote a traditional design. You know, we try to keep it as the center of the design of a final piece. So keeping that as a centric, you know, the main element is, of course, you'll give it a modern outline, you do it geometric, but the basic element is actually Indian. In fact, that sells the best for us. So that thin line is up to us. You know, we can be influenced and say that, okay, we are just bringing in all the influences and here I get a Persian element, here I would get a colonial element, here I would get a Victorian element. So what you want to highlight, I think if you want to have your people supporting you and have them rolling in, you have to, of course, promote them. There is no way that you can stay without those traditional elements. I think they are absolutely, absolutely important to our design process, to our language. And the world has realized it. You know, they all are realizing what we have. And, you know, now you go overseas and you speak to them, everybody knows India. Oh, okay. You know, so that's the kind of thing what we've developed. Thank you.
What is the approach to identify new age art forms and create a market for that?
What are new age art forms?
Anything that is out of the box. You might see some ideas, right, in the market. It may not be traditional.
मतलब आप कुछ ऐसा बना रहे हो जो अभी तक नहीं कोई बना रहा है. You're something what basically is saying, it's a new form. The craft doesn't exist. I have trying to create something new. So how to break the barrier, how to bring that and name it, how to put it in front of the world. That's what this question is.
I think this is a very complicated question, and the answer is, it's not a general answer to everything. It's an answer specifically to what you're doing, and that is very difficult for me to answer and judge. So you have to be sensitive to what it is that you are doing and how to take it forward. Look around you. There's so much going on. Maybe you can take clues from that.
I think if you've done something really out of the box, first protect it. That would be my advice, basically. Once you've protected the design, you know, then you try to look in for connections, how they are relevant to your particular piece, what you've made. Present it to the companies, basically. Get somebody to have a plan. You are a software engineer. Can't be a perfect way of, you know, putting that formula across. So use that as your strength, basically, and have it, try to search for the right people who are there for you. After you protect it, you're very confident, okay, I have created that right product. And if you're doing something really amazing, you know, you would find the market for it, simply.